This video features the best tips and tricks for the newest brawlers Lawrie and Lawrie. Everybody will be able to get Lawrie and Lawrie in star drops and on the star road on February 1st just before the new season starts. So make sure you just watch to the end of this video to learn everything about the newest Star Park employees Lawrie and Lawrie. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about in this guide is going to be his main attack, Ticket Dispenser. Lawrie lobs a bundle of tickets that explodes in a small radius the first time and then explodes in a larger radius the second time. This will actually deal damage to enemies hit and inside the radius over time. Now I really recommend when playing Lawrie you kind of treat his main attack like squeaks though, because you can predict where the enemies are going to be running to and that's where you should be throwing your main attack. Because even if you may not hit them with the first tick, there's still the second what they possibly could be standing on by the time your attack lands there. And with this kind of strategy you can use his attacks to block off choke points. Since the bundle of tickets will actually explode twice, the enemies are going to be forced to wait until the animation is done. The longer you can actually force the enemies to wait for the animations to finish, the more control that you and your team are going to be able to gain throughout the match. Now yes, after all, his main attack is a lob, like he's a thrower, so you need to be treating Lawrie like a thrower. I mean yes, even though Lawrie is the one that needs to be going aggressive and like getting close to the enemy so they can deal a lot of damage, you still need to be playing more passively because Lawrie is the thrower. And also Larry's main attack range is kind of far, so just take advantage of being able to hide behind walls and just lob your attacks from a safe distance. Now speaking of Lawrie, let's go ahead and talk about Larry's super call for backup. Lawrie summons his brother Lawrie, who chases down and attacks the enemies. Lawrie walks towards the nearest enemy even if they are in a bush and attempts to hit them with 2 waves that consist of 3 plugs in the first wave. The second wave will actually include 5 more plugs and the plugs will be spreading out in a cone formation. Larry's attacks also deal a high amount of damage at close range where most or all of the plugs can hit an enemy. Now as unfortunate as this may sound, just don't be afraid to go to sacrifice Lawrie into the enemy team.
Long live the king.
I mean, especially if you're using the assist star power where you need Lawrie to be attacking the enemy so that Lawrie can actually gain more ammo. He needs to be getting within close range because Laurie's attack range isn't that far, so you gotta be throwing him into the enemy team in the first place regardless so that you can gain ammo. And also you should be taking advantage of the fact that you can also lob Lawrie over walls too. I mean, this is just absolutely hilarious because you can throw Lawrie into the face of throwers that could be hiding behind walls. There is no way in hell a tick or a sprout, for example, are going to be able to take out Lawrie shooting at him from a close range. Now, like what I was talking about earlier, like Lawrie is a thrower, so if you do somehow get pressured by an aggressive brawler, you can use Lawrie as a way to tank shots for you. You can just go ahead and use your super and immediately put Lawrie right next to you and he can tank shots for you and also deal damage to that aggressive brawler. Or I mean, the smarter thing to technically do is to just die, I guess, and then you can just save your super so when you respawn you'll have Lawrie to help you gain the lane back. But alright, that's pretty much the gist of how his mechanics works. Let's go ahead and talk about his gadgets now. The first gadget I want to talk about is going to be Swap. When activated, Lawrie and Lawrie swap their respective attacks. The effect will remain active until another gadget is used. I mean, this is going to come in handy drastically when Lawrie needs to go ahead and fight against aggressive brawlers. Since Lawrie has that shotgun, you can just switch your attacks with the tap of your gadget. So then now you can actually surprise the enemy team and use Lawrie's shotgun on Lawrie to deal damage onto the enemies. And I find this gadget helpful, especially if you're going to be playing on maps and game modes where there's a lot of bushes. Most of the time on these kind of bushy maps, you're going to be seeing a lot of tanks like maybe Rosa, Bull, just to name a few. So when you can switch the gadget and actually use Laurie's shotgun attack, I mean, it's just going to come in handy so much better than using his ticket dispenser's attack. So theoretically, you'll only be able to swap your attacks 3 times throughout the entire match. Maybe it can be 4 if you're using the gadget charge gear. Now yes, this gadget can also come in handy in another way to kind of just throw off the enemy's rhythm. The enemies are going to try to pressure onto you because you're going to have your ticket dispenser's attack and they'll be like, you know what, it's just a thrower, I'll be able to burst him down. But if you think about it, if you're playing the entire match using your ticket dispenser's attack and then all of a sudden you switch and then you have Laurie's shotgun, then that aggressive brawler that's going to try and rush onto you, try to get an easy kill, I mean, they're going to be totally caught off guard and you're going to totally throw off their rhythm. Now the only time I really wouldn't recommend using the swap gadget is in combination with his assist star power, because if you have Lawrie actually using the ticket dispenser's attack, you're actually going to be gaining less ammo compared to if Lawrie was using his shotgun attack. I know I kind kind of sounds a little bit more confusing, but I'll get into that when I talk about his star power. But okay, before we get into the star powers, I do want to talk about his other gadget, and that is going to be fall back. When activated, Lawrie and Lawrie quickly dash to swap their respective positions. In addition, they heal for 33% of their maximum health. Now, I absolutely love this gadget. You can kind of think of it like Lola's stunt double gadget. It pretty much works the exact same way, like you're going to swap with your clone, or in this sense with your brother, and you're also going to be healing health. So I mean, it's not really unique in that kind of sense, but it's still pretty cool. But the reason why this gadget is so good is you can use it to dodge heavy incoming attack damage. For example, you can just swap places with Lawrie and just have him take the brunt of all of your damage, and then you will be swapping places with him, like you'll be in his spot, and then that way you can just retreat and just stay alive. Now yes, swapping places with your brother is going to be very helpful, but what's also very good about this gadget is healing 33% of your maximum health. So say for example, like you and Lawrie are pretty low in health, then you can just go ahead and activate the gadget and the health goes into effect instantly. Just keep in mind that you won't actually be able to go through walls when using this gadget. You guys will actually just end up smashing into the wall together, but the health will still be there. Now this is actually kind of big brain. Like say Lawrie is just going ham onto the enemy team and he's pretty low, you should place a wall purposely in between you and Lawrie so you can pull Lawrie away from all of that mayhem. This way you'll be healing yourself up, you'll be healing Lawrie up, and you'll be pulling Lawrie away from all of that chaos. This could potentially just keep Lawrie alive a little bit longer so that you can help yourself get more ammo, or he could tank more shots for you. I mean, the sky's the limit with how versatile you could be with this gadget, but I mean, I thought that was pretty unique about doing that. Now okay, we talked about Lawrie and Lawrie's gadgets. Now let's go to talk about their star powers. The first star power I want to talk about is going to be protect. When Lawrie is within 12 tiles of Lawrie, he is the only twin that can be damaged. Any damage that Lawrie would take is taken by Lawrie instead, making Lawrie impervious to all damage until Lawrie is defeated or leaves the range. Now this star power is going to come in handy in a game specifically like hot zone, where you need to be standing on the hot zone and staying on top of it in order to win, right? You need time on it. So this way you can just have all the incoming damage that you take, go and have it implemented onto Lawrie, and this would just keep you alive and staying on the hot zone that much longer. Or this can also come in handy against aggressive brawlers, like if you're taking a lot of incoming damage at a close range, you can pop down Lawrie and all that damage you'll be taking will be taken onto him instead. God, I just feel so bad for Lawrie. Like he's just taking the brunt of a lot of Larry's damage. I mean, it's so funny, man. But okay, anyway, like this star power is gonna be more helpful on game modes and maps that are more control oriented. Basically, if you're playing in a game mode or a map where you need to be staying alive as long as possible, run this star power to just increase your chances. Now I will state some of the downsides with this star power. Like you can't really rely on the AI that's kind of controlling Lawrie all over the place, since you actually aren't the one controlling Lawrie. Like if the AI takes Lawrie way off into Narnia and out of your range, then you're just going to be taking that damage and you think it's going to be deflecting onto Lawrie, but it's not. I mean, it's just kind of deceiving in my opinion. Like you're going to be thinking like, okay, I can just take all this damage and it's going to be going onto Lawrie, right? But you're really just going to be fooling yourself, because if he's just slightly out of range, you're just going to take all that damage for yourself when you don't expect it to. Now, another downside to this star power is, say like you both are low, like Lawrie and Lawrie are both low. So what happens when you're taking a lot of incoming damage and Lawrie is like literally about to die? There is no way that Lawrie is gonna take all of that damage that Lawrie is taking. So right as Lawrie goes down, Lawrie is the next to go. I mean, you're just gonna think you're chilling, like, okay, I'm just gonna have all this damage get deflected onto Lawrie, but then you end up dying. You're like, what the hell happened? But it's because Laurie's already dead. So why this star power is kind of a downside is like you have to always be conscientiously paying attention to Laurie's health, and realistically there's other things you need to be paying attention throughout the match than looking at your brother's health. But anyway, let's go to talk about his other star power now, assist. When Lawrie attacks enemy brawlers or spawnables, Lawrie reloads his ammo by 30%. The star power can only be used while Lawrie has Lawrie from his super within 5 tiles of his current location on the map. Now this star power is gonna work the absolute best when Lawrie has his shotgun attack. So theoretically, the more projectiles that Lawrie can hit with his shotgun, the more ammo that Lawrie is gonna be able to reload. This is going to be better because the shotgun attacks have the 2 waves that consist consists of the 3 plugs in the first one, and then 5 plugs in the second wave after that. Now let's just say theoretically you end up swapping the main attacks with the gadget. Like Lawrie is the one that ends up with the shotgun, and Lawrie is the one that ends up with the lobbing ticket dispensers. I mean, you can still reload ammo pretty quickly, it just won't be as fast because there is only the bundle of tickets that explodes in a small radius the first time. Although yes, you could be lucky enough where the enemy could get hit from the second wave, like you could get ammo that way, but realistically the odds of that happening are kind of slim unless the enemy is like stunned or they just have no idea what the hell they're doing against Lawrie and Lawrie. So while Lawrie is getting you all this ammo, like if you notice Lawrie is going ham onto the enemy team, just don't be afraid at all to just spam your main attack. You're gonna be getting a ton of ammo back regardless if Lawrie is going ham on the enemy team, so just go ahead and use it rain hell on the enemy team. I mean, even if you just throw your main attack to just go ahead and cause the enemy team to panic, it's better than just sitting there doing nothing and having your ammo just go to waste. You can kind of think of it like a Clash Royale reference. You never want your elixir bar to get full because you're wasting elixir. The same thing applies with this star power. Like you don't want to be wasting ammo if you're going to be getting a lot of it back instantly. But alright, we went over his star powers. I do briefly want to go over his gears, but the first one we're going to talk about is going to be damage gear. Now realistically, getting a 15% damage buff whenever you fall below 50% health is going to help any brawler no matter what, and especially if you can help out a brawler like Lawrie and Lawrie do more damage. I mean, oh my god, it's just incredibly disgusting. They can already do a lot of damage as it is, but if they do end up falling below that 50% health, I mean, it's just going to help them out drastically. Now the other gear I kind of do recommend, it might shock some of you guys, but it is going to be the gadget charge gear. He does have 2 really good gadgets, and they are going to be more situational depending on what your star power is going to be, but nonetheless, no matter what gadget you use, it's going to be helpful to either swap your main attack or actually just swap like where Lawrie and Lawrie are and to gain that extra health. Either way, running the gadget charge gear and having another gadget to use throughout the match, it really can make a difference and keep yourself alive that much longer. Well, there you guys go, a complete guide on how to play Lawrie and Lawrie. I really recommend you guys go push him, max him, unlock him right now, go the whole 9 yards for him because they are so broken right now. Well, anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that brawler guide, I highly recommend you go check out this brawler guide right here.